Join the Brew Crew. You might be our next winner. Text BREW to 30218 for your chance to win from 1240 The Brew. 1240 KOKL, Okmulgee, Oklahoma.
SJ, welcome to Mvskoke Radio, your weekly source for tribal and community news, interesting guests and discussions, plus a local events calendar. SJ, Stone Go, Gary 5 Joe, Jeff Gados, Mvskoke Radio, Mabu Hedge to Wedge Gates. Good morning, welcome to our program. We think that we've got a lot of stuff here for you, including a little high-pitched whine there.
So you get some wine in?
Yeah, I got some wine in there. So, anyway, let's get on with it. We have been giving you sort of informal sidewalk superintendent reports on the progress of the council house, but today we've got Veronica Pipestem to come in and kind of fill us in and give us a real thing on how the progress is doing. Also, the artifacts collection of historical pieces that were important to the Mvskoke people that were almost lost to the auction block, but were saved and restored and recovered, and we'll find out what's happening with those. Also, in our second half of the program, we're going to get jiggy, I guess. Fiddle dance music. It's been a part of Mvskoke tradition and custom for some time yet. Good way to use up some energy, have a good time, and just enjoy the fellowship of other people. We've got a couple of guys come in to talk about the history a bit, and we got a couple of small samples of the music that we'll be sharing, so we've got a lot of stuff. Plus community announcements and the usual silliness that goes along with this show. But first, before we get into our program, I wanted to share this from the Mvskoke's Office of Public Relations. I'm sure that all of you have been aware of the rescue efforts and support that have been going into Texas and surrounding areas in wake of Hurricane Harvey. We wanted to let you know that the Mvskoke Creek Nation is part of that effort to help our fellows down in that stricken part of the nation. The Mvskoke Creek Nation Light Horse Police, Emergency Management, Social Services, Citizenship, and Health Systems are all working to help the Texas areas that were affected. So they've got a response team put together. A team consists of 8 men, 3 boats, and diving equipment. And they left yesterday on their way to San Antonio to stage and coordinate with the headquarters down there. Social Services and Citizenship will be helping citizens in that area with lost documents due to the damage, and backup recovery systems being developed to help identify tribal citizens for quicker access to emergency assistance. And as far as this report goes, the Mvskoke Creek Nation is one of only 2 tribal governments in the state that have been reported to send assistance. And according to Chief James Floyd, it's our duty to react, to do what they've been asked to do. The health systems folks are sending 3 commissioned officers, I would presume, to help with their health care needs. And finally, Emergency Supervisor James Nichols said they're glad to help, but we don't want to sit back and watch. So our hats off to those folks who are going down there to help them, to make us proud of the Mvskoke Creek Nation, and to all Oklahomans and others who are lending their support, their private boats, the Cajun Navy. There are very legitimate ways to donate to assist with this rescue effort, so you might want to look into those and see what you can do to help out our neighbors down Texas. All right, well, let's get rolling here with our program. We want to welcome Veronica Pipestem. She's in to give us an update on the artifacts collection that we almost lost, and fill us in on the progress on the council house and the center that's visitor center that's being built in the old Sharps department store. Well, first of all, welcome. Thank you for making time for our program.
Thank you.
I have been doing some informal reports, sidewalk superintendent style, watching the workers on the roof and the bell tower, and like ants going in and out of the doorways there and carrying stuff in and out, and all the work that's been going on there. So let's start with the council house. Where are we with that project? Is it close to being completed? Is there an opening date? Any surprises or anything there?
The progress is coming along very smoothly. We're kind of getting to the point where we're way past the half point, probably about 75% done with the construction portion of that. Of course, we are still working on the reinterpretation of the inside, and really can't do a ton of work on moving in, of course, until they get the construction work done. But as you can see, they've completed the roof, and now they're working on the cupola and fixing all of those things on top. They're also going in and painting. They're redoing the floors, restoring the floors and the staircase. Of course, there's the two-tiered staircase, and one of the more interesting elements of that is that they're not going to touch the side that's original to the building, because there are original stairs still left there. We made that decision, and that side will be shut off, but will be visible to visitors, because those are the steps that have been there since the building was created. And so we wanted people to be able to see those stairs, and they're very worn, and they've got a lot of character. So.
Safety concerns, are they still in any kind of shape if they had to be used?
I'm sure they could be used, but we would probably very much discourage that.
Yeah,
So.
prefer not to, okay. All right, now, last time I was in there was over a year ago, and noticed a lot of cracks in the walls where the building had settled, and the northwest corner was in danger of losing a pillar of stone and things like that. Have all of those, what I would call major problems, been corrected at this point?
Yes, they've gone in the northwest corner and shored up the foundation there, shored up that pillar. They've repaired all of that, and they are fixing any cracks that occurred because of the movement of that pillar. Those are all going in and being repaired, and they're going to wait and do the painting until all of that's done. So that when they say that they're ready to paint, that indicates to me that those cracks are being fixed and repaired. So.
Well, that's quite a job to do that without creating any further damage, and making sure that the cracks are sealed properly and things like that. I remember from a small job in my bathroom where I had to replace a piece of drywall, and it's quite a job if you really look at it. Now we see, of course, trucks in and out hauling, I presume, used and discarded materials out, and new things going in. What will the interior look like once you got it the way you want it?
The interior will look like, and our target date for the interior is 1906, which obviously was the last year that the Creek Nation government operated before there was an attempt to terminate the nation and force the liquidation of all their assets, including the Creek National Records, the Council House, and any other holdings that the Mvskoke Creek Nation had at the time. So when you go in, you will see things like partners' desks and standing teachers' desks. For example, the standing teacher's desk will go in the Board of Education, which also operated a school out of the Council House for many years. You'll see lots and lots of interpretive panels and photographs from that era of people. One of the more exciting things that we're kind of working on and we're working out the logistics of that right now, is putting a very, very large map up of the Creek Nation and the tribal towns in existence, and letting visitors who come who are Mvskoke citizens or of Mvskoke ancestry place pictures of themselves or of their ancestors on that map. And so it'll be kind of a community project that gets developed as we go forward, so that people can really see the vast land holdings of the Mvskoke Creek Nation during that time, and as well as the people who are represented there, historic photos as well as contemporary photos. If people want to take a selfie and we can print it out and stick it up there as they visit, we'll do that too, so people can really participate in that.
Okay, well, that was going to be my next question. You know, someone wanted to put a photo of their daughter graduating from 5th grade or something like that, or were you really looking for more historical photos, things that trace our ancestry and represent various stages in our history?
We're looking for both. We have quite a collection of older photos and portraits of people. Of course, we don't have an exhaustive collection by any means, but if people want to bring those in, of course, we won't take the original. We'll make a copy of that photo and put it up for them. But we want those historic photos, but we also really want to have contemporary photos in there too, because we want visitors to understand in every part of the council house as they visit who are not from Mvskoke Creek Nation that the council house, yes, was a historic building, but the Mvskoke people are still very much alive and thriving today. And so we want to remind visitors of that in every element of the council house that we curate. So
right, we're still around, folks, and it's a living, breathing entity there. Well, that's wonderful. Now, do you have a feel for the cost now? Have you had any surprises in your budget where you had to kick it up or got a break somewhere?
No, so most of the budget is now being managed through Kodak and the construction company, because this is a tax credit project, and so all of the management of that has to be outside of the nation to protect the nation from any sort of tax issues that would come up. And so that's being managed by construction through One Fire. So our partners in this are One Fire and Kodak. And so we're, while we do have biweekly updates on that, and they are on budget and they are on schedule, and we do know that all of that budgeting has really already been done at this point. As they source things and that sort of thing, all of that gets done pretty early on in the process.
The council house is pretty much like the centerpiece of Okmulgee's downtown, and I think the spark that contributes to its Okmulgee Rising campaign. Part of what you're wanting to do is to bring in a visitor center and place it just across the street, right? Mm-hmm. And what purpose will it serve, and what will it contain?
The purpose of the Council House Visitor Center is a very practical one. Once the restoration of the Council House is complete, we really want to keep the Council House in as pristine as condition as we possibly can. And because of its age, and because of the investment that we've put into restoring the floors and the interpretation and the programming schema that we're using of this historic home or historic museum, we didn't feel like it was the greatest idea for us to be having daily use of office space in there, because that is going to create some wear and tear on the building. And so the first very practical matter of having a visitor center is to have a place to receive guests for having staff to receive those guests, so that we're very close in proximity. We can see if people are wanting to go into the council house. We can come out and meet them there, but we're not officing inside of the council house, just to keep it in the condition that we've invested so much resource into fixing. The other functions that the proposed Council House Visitor Center would serve are collection storage space for the museum and archival collections that we have, office space for the rest of our staff. We have some conference rooms and public space planned out in that area. We would also have a gallery area that optimally would be the permanent home of the Red Stick Gallery as well. So it's going to house all of those things, so that we have space for people to come in, visit, There will be a small research area that's connected to the collection space, so we can pull things from the collection if people want to look at them and see them and view them. That will be available there. But we also we will have places for people to meet from the rest of the nation or from the community. We're short on public spaces, and we really wanted to create a place where people could have that. We could host some meetings at our office building and the visitor center down there. So.
Wow, you're going to get all of this into one building? Oh, geez.
It's in the floor plans. So.
You have any movable walls or anything like that?
Yes, we will.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. You can't do all this without that. And the bottom floor will also serve as a additional gallery or rotating exhibit space. So.
Yeah, the Cherokee Nation over in Tahlequah has quite an extensive visitor center, plus a gift shop and a restaurant and things like that. Is this project going to be as large as that, or perhaps is it a little more conservative?
I'm not clear on the square footage on that visitor center and the restaurant. I know the restaurant's pretty large in and of itself, but we don't have any plans to serve any food or to operate any sort of dining establishment out of there, but we do have plans for kitchenette in there, because if people wanted to host receptions, that would also be an option for them too. So we would have a place to do that, but not on a daily basis would we be serving food.
Speaking of kitchenettes, I know there were some changes to the council house that included something like that, and of course the restrooms and things like that. Will those more modern conveniences and space be changed to a more original kind of thing?
Yes, the bathroom remains in the location that it was originally built in, but the kitchenette is no longer. It will. We tore that out because that's actually the room that the kitchenette was in is the chief's office, and we really felt like we needed the full amount of that space to interpret and tell the story of the principal chiefs of the Mvskoke Creek Nation during that period, which is 1865 about to 1906.
Okay. Well, that's quite a schedule of work. Now, on top of all of that, your department has responsibility for the artifacts collection, the one we almost lost to the auction block up north in whatever state that was. But,
in Ohio.
Yeah. Now, since it's been back and returned, what have been the plans for it? How is it stored right now, and will part of it be going on exhibit at some point?
Right now, the collection is stored up at a unit in the Riverwalk in Jenks, so it's still on tribal property very much. It's mostly still in boxes. We didn't really, as an archivist and collections manager, one of the decisions I made as I came in to try to kind of take an inventory of the collection and just kind of get a better feel of what was in there was not to disturb or touch too much the three-dimensional objects in that collection, because they're in packing boxes and because some of these objects are very deteriorated. Some of them are old. We have some things from Tugabuchi Mound, and those things are very, very old, and they're very, very fragile. And the more that we handle them and take them in and out of boxes, the greater the chance there is of damaging those things. So the three-dimensional items, like cultural material items, framed art, any sort of things like that, we really haven't done much with, because when you take them and put them in and out of boxes, you really have the potential to damage those things or the things that are next to them in that box. So we haven't, we've peeked into the top, done an inventory just to see what was there, what we could see. But the last couple of years I've spent really focusing on the photograph and the manuscript collections, because those are standard size boxes, they're small, and they can easily be put in and out of boxes to pack up and move. So we've done some digitization of those photos. By no means do we have all of them digitized as of yet, but we've probably got maybe 600 to 800 of them digitized. And then we've gone through and done a basic inventory on the manuscript collections.
Wow, that's incredible. Now, maybe you can give me an idea of the numbers of items and then perhaps some of the variety. I know when I've walked through there when it was first placed, there were items of furniture and, of course, as you mentioned, paintings. I remember Civil War muskets and bayonets and, kind of stuff that little guys would like. But it's much more than that, right?
So this collection, the scope of it includes, of course, photographs, manuscripts, cultural material items. We have a large collection of ball sticks, canes, you name it, we probably have one of those things or more. We have a significant special collection in terms of library items. We have a lot of hymn books, plat map books. We have, of course, that cradle that you were talking about earlier. We have quite a bit of furniture, and a lot of that furniture actually was in the council house. And so some of the plans that we have for that, those pieces, we're going to retain one of the chairs, for example, that's in the best condition. That will remain a permanent collection item, but the other chairs will repair, and we're going to put them back into the council house because we really feel like that's their home. They need to be there, and if we don't put them there, they're just going to be in the collection.
I'm glad you brought that up. You mentioned when we were chatting earlier that one of your team members actually did some incredible research in looking up these items in places that I wouldn't have thought that would lend any help or any information. So why don't you tell me a little bit about that?
So the installation designer, who's our consultant on this project, her name is Nancy Lowe Clark, and she's a wonderful lady. She's just wonderful at doing cases and furniture design. She's actually that's her kind of specialty and love is furniture design. So she and I and our curator John Beaver went through the collection, looked at a lot of the chairs, a lot of the furnishings that we had that we knew were original. We have the old chief's desk as well. That's also original. That's also going back into the council house. She looked at the style of that furniture, really documented it, and tried to find things that were similar to that. And then the other thing that she did, and this is one of her old tricks, is going through Sears catalogs from the late 19th century and seeing what kind of furniture was for sale, or what kind of inkwells were for sale, or what kind of spittoons they carried. Because in all of our historical accounts that we've seen, the council house has spittoons everywhere, and so that's one of the things that will feature inside of the council house.
A lot of tobacco getting chewed.
Yes. So she's gone in and really done a really comprehensive job of what furnishings we need to have in there. And a lot of the things that we've looked at, we've kind of determined that the aesthetic of the council house was one that was very simple. You're not going to find a lot of ornate furniture in there. The simplicity of it's really beautiful. We'll have some pine deal tables because that's what historical accounts have said, and that were in the House of Warriors and the House of Kings. So we'll have those available there. And the House of Warriors will also be a contemporary meeting space where the council is able to have meetings there again as well. So we're trying to outfit that room, especially to accommodate any sort of meetings that they might want to have there.
Wow, that's incredible. Now, it seems hard to imagine, though, today's council all fitting into one space, and then observers and witnesses, I guess, all in such a limited kind of capacity there. What about the bell? Is it going to ring out again?
The bell actually will be usable, but we'll try to limit that just because so much work's been done on the belfry in that area, and so it's been repaired. It really wasn't in horrible shape when they went up there and looked at it, so they've cleaned it, they've repaired it, but they did not restore it because we didn't really feel like there was a need for it. It's still usable, but it actually had those pads on the inside so you couldn't ring it, and that's one of the things that they discovered as they went up there to look at the bell.
So I guess on ceremonial occasions you may hear it ring out again.
That's correct.
And not too many times. You don't want to take it back to where it used to be there. We've still got all of these wonderful things going on, and I think of it as really adding another spark to downtown Okmulgee. The presence of the Mvskoke Creek Nation is so strong, and seeing this, plans for the center, the Red Stick Gallery. Oh, by the way, how's the gallery doing?
We're doing great. We've had such a wonderful response from so many Mvskoke artists, and we haven't saturated the market of Mvskoke artists. We know that. We recently attended the Indian market, and we met 2 or 3 more artists that we never had, we didn't know about. And so we're excited to be able to kind of promote the work of a lot of these artists who we can provide a special venue for, and we can really get a lot of coverage for their work because we operate online as well as on site. But we're doing really well. Please come by and visit us, and we'll be happy to set you up with whatever you would like in terms of Mvskoke items. If we don't have it, we probably know an artist that could make it.
Well, my last visit was for a birthday gift for my wife, and I saw the prices for everything were pretty reasonable for what they were. They varied in like silver bracelets bracelets and shell work and things like that. You could expect to pay more for hand produced. What precaution do you take in making sure these are indeed Creek artists and Native people?
Yes, that is one of the requirements for any artist that wants to submit items to the Red Stick Gallery, is that we do have to have a copy of their citizenship card, their Mvskoke Creek citizenship card, or they have to be enrolled in a federally recognized tribe with a Mvskoke CDIB.
Okay. Thank you so much for bringing us up to date on this. I'll continue my sidewalk superintendent reports, but it's kind of nice to know what's really going on there. Now, if someone, first of all, completion dates for the council house and for the center, visitor center.
The completion date for the council house, really when we finish the reinterpretation and all of that, will probably be mid to late 2018. Okay. And the council house visitor center, we're currently in the design process with the architects, and then after that we really need to kind of look and see what kind of resources are available to go any further than that. So
if any of our listeners have questions, how do they get in touch with you and potential artists for Red Stick? Same number or different number?
You can visit, if you're interested in, as an artist or a buyer for a Red Stick Gallery, you can get all of our contact information at creeknationgiftshop.com. You can go to the tribe's website and find the Cultural Center and Archives page. That's our department, and it has all of our contact information there. But for your reference, our main number is 918-549-2434.
Okay, well, wonderful. Thank you so much, Veronica, for filling us in. We're going to try and keep our listeners well informed about these dates, and as they get closer, we'll probably have you back to let us know when the festivities begin.
Okay, thank you for having me.
Okay, go. All right, we're going to take a short pause here, and then we're going to be back with a couple of gentlemen to tell us about fiddle dance music, and we'll share a couple of excerpts. Stay with us here on Mvskoke Radio on 1240 The Brew.
Almost 150 years ago, the Mvskoke Creek Nation established their capital here, and they called the place Okmulgee. Today, Okmulgee is a thriving town of business and tradition, with a spirit of community that is alive and well, a community of service for our fellow man. And no entity brings more to the table than the Mvskoke Creek Nation, providing a whole plethora of services for our citizens and our community alike, such as housing assistance, medical attention, food services, and community events. For more information about the Mvskoke Creek Nation, visit our website at www.mcn-nsn.gov. the Mvskoke Creek Nation, your partner for the future. Motto.
Welcome back to Mvskoke Radio here on 1240 The Brew in beautiful, gorgeous downtown Milwaukee. And these guys wheezing in the background are my next guests here. We'd like to welcome Charlie Harjo and James Smith to the studios here today. You're here to talk about fiddle dance music and share a couple of excerpts for us. First of all, let's kind of find out what it is. One of you want to kind of define it for me there? James, maybe you want to. What is fiddle music?
Like I told you a while ago, all I know is when I was a child. But before that, I don't know when this started.
Mm-hmm.
In the 50s, I was a child. I watched my parents, uncle, aunts, and kinfolks, and I become a teenager. I danced a couple of times, and then middle part of the 70s, my in-laws, they're Seminoles, and they started dancing. I danced with them, and they quit late 70s. That's the last time I danced. But here 214 here at museum downtown Omogi.
Yeah.
And I came back and started dancing, and I've been dancing since then. And today I caught on. Now trying to be a teacher today.
Okay, well, let's take a second here and hear a small excerpt from one of these pieces. Perhaps you can tell us about what we're hearing. So, Brooks, if you'll do the honors there.
Hey, now we
Go ahead.
and my helper Charlie, he lives in he lives in Okmulgee, so he knows who to go to, where to go to, and so he find places and get everything lined up, and I come and people come, trying to teach them. Now we at the Creek Nation Country Club now. It's a nice place, dancing. We get together, we practice on a Thursday night now, and now people call us to dance here and there. I wishing we get some more people to come, and younger people, but me and Charlie, we getting up there. So we don't know how long we're going to last.
Yeah, I want to pass it on. Now, when I hear this, I think I recall the movie Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Used a lot of old, quote, old-timey, unquote, music.
Yeah.
And it sounded a lot like this. Now, this is the same kind of stuff there?
I believe James had acquired this CD as a training. We use that as a training CD for the music. And when all else fails and we do have a fiddle player. His name's Craig Womack. He lives in Atlanta, Georgia, but it's so far away that he cannot come to it and practice with us, so we have to rely on the CDs. Then from there, well, we can go by that. But the music, I think this one is dated back in late 1948 or 49.
It has a similarity to bluegrasses, is what I've heard. But it's not quite the same, and you used the term square dance earlier. Now, is that what we're hearing there? This particular tune is a little slower than what I know of as a square dance, which is really high-stepping and energetic, but there's a difference there.
Yes, sir. That the music that, like I said, this is one of the slower ones that we use for like a training, and we go through. So the new dancers comes in. Well, we always got one or two new ones every time we get out there. Right now, I have about 5 couples that are well experienced that can dance anytime, anywhere. But we always got some new ones. We always invite everybody to come, especially the young people. This is one of the reasons that we are doing this, to hand it down to the younger generation.
Now, this last piece the piece we just heard, it sort of reminded me of kind of a waltz type. Slow, very graceful kind of movements. And of course, it's, you work with your partner, you have to lead, and the partner follows and this kind of thing. But as you say, that's not the only style now. We have a list of selections here. Can you pick out one there that is a lot faster and more energetic?
I think.
Okay, I think try 15.
Okay.
Yeah. False, do not stop. Yeah.
That is called, fiddle stomp. And there's my French. What do you guys have? How's that pronounced?
Hey, doo-doo, stomp. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I wasn't quite as clumsy as I thought.
Yeah. Our normal speed that we would be dancing to, something like that. But the first part was, like I said, it was like a training type, and we do through the movements, but we do it to the slow music so people get accustomed to it. So as time goes on, we jump way up to there, and then I have on my YouTube the way they do it up north, up around the Canadian border. Some of the tribes, they do it real good. I'd like to see us do that, but I don't think people will move that quick. And it's about twice as fast as that one.
Oh my gosh! No, that's something you would see on a big talent show or something.
Yes, it is.
Are the steps really complicated? Is it? I can imagine they would get real intricate as the more you do it. But is it hard to learn? I guess.
Right.
This dance, we got 5 sets. The first 4 sets, everybody moves same way, but the last set, you and your partner will go down the middle, the way you want to dance, the way you want to act crazy.
All right, now we compared that to Soul Train, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So
yes.
where the couples always dance down the middle.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
And strut their stuff. The steps itself, as I asked earlier, are they hard to learn? Are they really intricate? Like every dance has its own step combination.
When I do instructing, I suggest that they usually try to keep to the rhythm of the music, and we do have a rhythmist, what I call a rhythmist, a guy playing a wooden chair with sticks, and all he does is like a drummer, but all he does is keep the timing of the music. And we try to do it where people can just move simple steps, usually 3 or 4, just kind of skip and then just kind of trot a little bit, So, and that's basically what we're working on. Now, on my own, as I did last night, I was up until about 1 or 2 o'clock doing my own moves to the northern style of music, and they were doing that. And of course, I've been dancing since I was in high school, and that's the reason I try to teach people but I understand that not everybody's got the moves that I do, or move my feet like some people can. So
Sort of like John Travolta in Saturday Night Fever.
There you go.
Mvskoke
Yes, sir.
version.
yes.
The music is really intriguing now. The rhythm and things are set up to really work well with dancers, and I enjoy hearing bluegrass music and the intricate musicianship involved. But this is not the same goal with this music, right?
No, it isn't. It's let me back up a little bit and say, well, basically, it's like a square dance when we start out, but we do not have a caller. Nobody calls what you're supposed to do. A caller will say, do-si-do, swing your partner, blah, blah, blah. But we don't do that. That's why we practice on our moves each individual couple knows exactly when their next move is, what the next movement and stuff like that. So,
All right, let's share another selection here, and I guess the number 5 there. Can you tell us what that is?
Harry Schultz Special. He is the guy that has him. I don't even know if he's living or not, but he's the fiddler in this music here, and but this was recorded way back, like I said, 1948, 49, and okay, let's go ahead and listen to this, a little bit of this.
Yeah. Everybody dance. Oh, yeah.
That's when we get out there. That picks up the pace for us, and we really get with it then.
Does it start your foot stomping when you hear this?
Yeah, I was wanting to get up and...
Okay, we'll go right ahead. First to hear on Mvskoke Radio. Too bad we're not TV at the moment. But that sounds really kind of almost a, I don't know, mid-40s swing kind of thing.
Yes.
Something they used to do down at Cain's Ball.
This was actually, this fiddle dancing, they had actually started it before the removal. They had, they got noticing the Europeans were doing these kind of things, and they picked it up as part of their tradition. And since that time, they brought it with them as like anything else. When after the removal, they came here, and then and mainly it was the Irish and the Scottish people that they picked up after. But I would not wear a kilt, no sir. But anyway, and they kind of made it part of their tradition from their own. And then they just kind of tapered it off to the summertime. But this was not only for the winter dances. It's primarily winter dance, but they started socializing, and they started using these as somebody's birthday. They get together to have a dance. Somebody's anniversary, they get to have a dance. Somebody get a new house. Nowadays they call it housewarming. Back then they get together, have a fiddle dance. And these were some of the things that our ancestors were doing up until here recently. As time went on, they just kind of faded out. And now we're trying to bring it back and carry on what was a long time ago.
Now, you mentioned the Scottish influence, and it really is pervasive among the Mvskoke people. You hear the names pop up here and there, and in connections to family. My own family has a connection to the Scottish people. And my wife keeps trying to get me to wear a kilt, but I say, no, the only time I'll ever wear a kilt is if it has a true, actual Fife tartan on it, the Fife plaid.
Right.
Now she'll probably find one and make me wear it. So. Now, that's interesting connection there. Now, as far as Mvskoke connections, traditions, like the Indian, stomp dance kind of, are there any roots there that reach and touch that, or is it something that our people kind of picked up and adopted?
No, I don't believe, I could be wrong, but it's not really connected with our true tradition as our stomp dance ceremonial grounds. It's just something that after the season was over, during the winter months, they didn't have anything else to do, no stomp dancing or anything. So they proceeded to learn the fiddle dancing, the Scottish dancing, the Irish, and whatever else they were, the type of dancing they had back in those days. And this became very popular during the late 1880s. During this period, between 1880 and 1950, 60s, that was a thing they did during the wintertime. But since then, it's kind of tapered off. For some reason, the younger generation started going with, like myself, I was an Elvis Presley fan. I used to do a lot of his stuff. But I've always danced since I was a teenager.
I can imagine you swinging your hips there and
Well,
dazzling all the young women there.
I tried it until anyway, never mind. That's another story.
My older brother did that too. So.
But right now, to me, dancing was always been in since I started learning how to dance in high school. I was also in a high school band, instrumentally and everything. I played clarinet, saxophone, drums, bass guitar. I learned a lot of that. And then dancing, I was doing a lot of the jitterbug, sock hop type stuff, and doing these other dances and so forth. So dancing to me kind of comes semi-naturally. And when I started picking this up, in fact, like I said last night, I was working on steps that they were doing, but I could never do it because they were young people doing it. But right now, at my age, as I'm 75 years old, and I still get out there and dance, and
that's wonderful to hear, and the way you describe things. That sort of dance takes a little more style and technique. There's you have to learn things, and you were talking about young people today, and bless their hearts, they're all precious to us. But for gosh sakes, getting out on the dance floor and waving your backside in the wind just doesn't seem like it's dancing to me. Now, is it hard to teach this kind of thing, or people pick it up fairly easily, simply? James?
This filler dance?
Yeah.
That's not hard. It's, like I said, we got 5 sets. First 4, everybody moves the same way. And the last one is you're on your own and all. So, about dancing, fiddle dance fading away, just like our native tongues fading away.
Yeah. Now, what I was after, I guess, is like when you learn things like ballroom dancing. You learn to waltz. It's 2 steps forward and then 1 to the side, or a box step is 1 to and then 1 to the side and then 1 back and then 1 to the side there. Are there steps like that you have to learn?
No.
not in the first 4 parts. The second part you're on, but I would like to teach them, a couple of extra steps, during the first 4 parts. And but I've noticed some of my dancers, when we're dancing in a circle, where we hold hands and go around in a circle, I noticed they could, do their own little skips and hops and to the rhythm of the music. But that's because they probably worked on it, and even though everybody basically does the same thing, they do that little extra movements on their own. Yeah. So you can teach some of that, but not everybody's going to be able to pick it up.
Let's make another selection from your CD now. Pick out one there that demonstrates kind of what you're talking about right there.
I don't know, which one do you think? Oh, you want?
Yeah. Well, it's all about the same. I don't know. 22.
22?
Yeah, let's try that.
22, okay.
Number 22.
And that is, what is that? Grand Mamu?
Grand Mamu.
Mamu.
These are, if I'm not mistaken, these are Cajun musics.
Okay.
Their movement's a little bit different. It's a waltz type.
Yeah, waltz.
But they can, this is something that I've seen kind of put little skips in there in between. But that's couples that can do that on their own. We try to teach them with these other ones, but some of them are too fast and they can't keep up or something. So we have to just kind of work with everybody, so that way everybody's on the same level as movements and stuff. And like I said, some couples are going to be able to throw in a couple of extra little steps there, and some of them are going to be lucky enough to just be able to move to the rhythm of the music. So, but that is one of the, like a training CD music that we have. So.
Okay. Well, that one's nice and slow and easy. Let's go to the other end of that spectrum. What is like the fastest here? What, and perhaps the most difficult one?
Let's see, which is fast?
Fast?
Yeah, I mean, really, you know, where people are out there moving and.
They about not
We try to,
almost the same. All of them
they're
same.
all about the same speed,
Yeah,
I think.
same speed. Just
Okay, well,
let's
pick
try.
that-
Let's try number 10. It's called Rubber
Yeah.
Dolly.
You rubber dolly.
Yeah, that is one of our faster ones. It's not the fastest, but for the group that we have now, and James and I have been dancing for since 2013, and we're coming up on our 4 years now. It'll be in November, but the people that I have now have only started since February, so they're, we have to go kind of easy with it. We don't want to overdo it for them. But we do have some that really likes the music, and they can pick it up real quick when they start jumping right into it. But that is one of our little faster music. So.
Yeah, you could end up getting kind of sweaty on it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We had one, and that was a good workout. I would like to point out, too, that we have a lady. She was a former ballerina. A lot of people know her. Her name is Nancy Scott Fields. She's pretty well known on stage, and I think she's maybe been on Broadway. But we kind of made her choreographer for our group, so she can help fine-tune some of those people's moves and dances. So she's only been on board with us for about 3 weeks now, but she's done real good.
What do you think the future of fiddle dance is going to be like? I know you're trying to recruit people. Has it really been successful? I know I've seen photos of some folks who have come in and really enjoyed themselves. But what do you think? You mentioned there might be some possibilities of losing it, but I don't know. I'll ask you guys. What do you guys think?
What do you think?
That depends. Me and Charlie. One day we want to stop. We're going to get too old. We're going to quit. After that, probably no future. That's why you're looking for somebody to come over, start dancing with us, and learn, so that person can carry on. So I danced when I was a kid too, like Charlie. Rock and roll. I like rock and roll. I like to dance rock and roll. But now it's jumped over to fiddle dance now. When I get out on the floor, I'll do my thing. I like to dance. It's exercise too.
Oh yeah.
So a week from Thursday, next month, we're going to practice again over here at the country club. And Saturday we're going to Tulsa.
Okay. We're going to hang on to that. We're going to get some dates here from you. I know you've got practices, some dances, and then you're going to be at the State Fair, I understand. But Charlie, let me ask you that same question. What do you think the future is? Is it really something we have to look at possibly losing?
If we don't have young people got to come out, and we stress that. We said, I've invited some Mvskoke Creek Nation college students to come and watch, at least watch, see how we do these things, And this is part of their heritage. We want them to learn. Not all of them are Creek students, but we always tell them, come out there. You're invited. You come out there and watch. We'll get you out there. And once they start, this is how some of our dancers have gotten started. They just come to watch. They just sit back and watch. We'll coax them into coming out there. And we do what we call a walkthrough. We walk through the thing.
Oh, yeah.
This way, you go through the whole motions, the whole thing. But we just walk, no music. And then if they look like they're making a mistake, we correct them. We don't just yank them around and say, no, you're going the wrong way. We just help them through it. Then we put the music on. And I guarantee you, within third or fourth time they're out there with us. And this is how easy it is. But you can't, for some reason, I can't get the young people to come out there.
Okay.
We do have some children. Some of the families bring their children, 8, 9, 10-year-olds. We've had 4 or 5 kids come and dance with us. And it didn't take them long to catch on. And I would like to see more young children like that at that age, because they can learn real easy. But like anything else, nowadays they're into sports, they're going to school. You know, it's hard to get kids out on a weeknight or even a weekend because they got homework to do and whatever it is. Or the family's busy, or they got to go here and there. So the only thing that we can do is just cross our fingers and say, invite them, come on out, bring your kids. And I understand back then, when they took a break from dancing, the men used to hit the woods and hit, chip the jug. The story goes, but that's not what we're about.
No, nobody gets Haji and comes here.
No, I always stress it. This is a family affair.
Right.
Bring the children. Right. Bring the children. I always try to put that on a flyer when I put flyers. This is a family thing. Bring the children. And that's what we're trying to do.
I tell you what, why don't you guys pick out one here that you'd use for recruiting? If you wanted people to come in and you wanted to share a real showy piece of music, one that's really exciting and a lot of fun, which ones would you choose?
I've heard them all, but
Some don't make music not good enough to dance. So.
Let's try number 24.
24.
Yes. It's called Hackberry Hop. I think that's a fast one. That's one of them. That was it. We use that kind of music, and he said, "Hey, that sounds good. I kind of like to do that." It gives you the feeling, you want to get out there and jump around a little bit.
Hoop and holler.
And we do that. We encourage one another when we're dancing out there. We hoop and holler at one another. Say, "Yeah, go!" We clap our hands, help them keep rhythm. We just, encourage them. They're doing good. We just holler at them that much more.
Now, in the folks who show up and have a good time with this, are there couples that you see that are really good? That really kind of stand out, and somebody you would point to as really have learned this style?
Yes, I have a couple in mind now that are real good. I don't know how long they've been dancing together elsewhere, but as far as fiddle dancers, there are 2 couples actually, and one just so happens to be one of our council members.
Council members, okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll leave those identities to...
I'll just leave that and let it go. Yeah. He and his partner are the best ones that I've seen. That can... In fact, I'm thinking about moving them up to be lead couples.
We have to check this out and see who shows up. Really styling up.
They're young.
Yeah,
they're young.
Guys, we've had a couple of opportunities there coming up where people can come in and learn or listen. Do you have some important dates like practice or appearances?
Yes, sir. Well, right now, our next Thursday night, a week from tomorrow night, we are going to be at the country club out here on.
Yeah. Now, forgive me here. We're running out of time, darn it. And, of course, you'll be at the State Fair. So.
It'll be at 11 a.m. at the lower level in the River Spirit Expo.
All right. Well, thank you, James Smith and Charlie Harjo, for coming in and sharing this wonderful music. We'll have you back, and we'll play some more and have a good time. But
y'all are invited to come out, and we'll show you how to dance.
Come on, watch us.
All right. Well, thank you for listening to Mvskoke Radio. We hope you had fun with it. We did. Mado Mabo Hedges good. You've been listening to Mvskoke Radio. Join us again next week for more local, tribal, and community news and updates. Fiddle.